the June 6th, 2023 Public Workshop of the Marion County School Board to order at 9:03 a.m. Please silence your electronic devices to avoid disturbing others. I now will ask the School Board Attorney to explain the rules for this work session. Good morning, Attorney Powers.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. This work session is a public meeting as defined in Florida's Sunshine Law. The board is dedicated to full transparency in its meetings and its work. In compliance with the Sunshine Law, the board has adopted uniform meeting procedures, including the right for citizens to participate. The board will allow public comment regarding any work session item listed on today's agenda at the appropriate time. Speakers must fill out a request form located in the lobby and hand it to the board clerk. After the board and superintendent have completed their discussion on a particular agenda item, the board clerk will call speakers' names in the order received. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. As required by the Sunshine Law, the board must maintain orderly conduct and proper decorum throughout this meeting. Speakers may criticize subject matter and decisions in a respectful manner, but not people. Finally, speakers must be very careful not to violate the privacy rights of others, especially students or their family members, by mentioning their names or other identifying information. Thank you for your attention to these important rules.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. We'll now begin this public workshop with the Superintendent's Administrative Briefing. Good morning, Ms. Talbert Irving. Thank you for serving in Dr. Gullett's absence.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, board. At this time, we have no administrative briefing, so I'll turn it back over to Dr. Campbell.
Okay, terrific. So with that, moving on to the topic for today, which is the proposed impact fee rate increase. We have seen this presentation board, and both of these presentations have been given to us. They're also attached in the information for this public workshop. Ms. Martinez-Lopez, do we have any public speakers that have submitted a timely request to speak today?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. So with that, board, we do have present with us in the room Ms. Conrad and Reverend Cummings, and Dr. James is on the phone also. Board, I open it up to you to discuss your ideas and information for us to share, but I also want to express to you before we move too much further along that the county has requested a joint public workshop to discuss our recommendations. That date, I believe each of you have been contacted individually about the date, but you may not have known exactly why, but that date they have requested is August 11th at 9 a.m. at the Weber Center. So just wanting to get consensus if you all are interested and inclined in having a joint public workshop with the County Commission on our proposal. As you know, we have scheduled these two public workshops, both this one and the one next week, to fulfill our requirements as per statute to meet those extenuating circumstances, extraordinary circumstances, to request for more than 50% of an increase. And so that's what this public workshop and the one next week on the 13th at 5:30 p.m., the purpose of those is that. But beyond that, the county is asking for us to have a joint public workshop before making our recommendation to them on what that increase might look like. So that's August 11th. Do we have consensus to move forward with a joint public workshop before we make a recommendation?
Did they share why we need a third public meeting?
So from what I understand, and I know there is someone here from the county, I don't know if anybody wants to speak to it, and I think Ms. Debick also has been in contact with them a bit. Dr. Gullett has been actually the one who's communicated the most. My understanding is they would like to sit down with us in a public setting and all of us have almost like a collaborative conversation about this, I guess, knowing that we have already publicly presented what we have and having these two meetings as well. Their next commission meeting isn't until July 18th. So some of the timeline of what we had requested is going to be shifting some because our conference that we have every year is in June, theirs is in July. So that's part of the reason that their meeting, they didn't have a meeting this week as they normally would have. And so their next meeting together is July 18th. So we will have had several meetings about this apart from them? And Attorney Powers may have additional information for us.
Yes, it'll be slightly tedious, but it'll probably be less than 5 minutes to do. That is in part because of requirements that both the county and us share under Florida statute when it comes to impact fees. In 163.31801, subsection 4, it indicates, at a minimum, each local government that adopts and collects an impact fee by ordinance, and each special district that adopts, collects, and administers an impact fee by resolution must do the following, and it's got A through I. A is ensure that the calculation of the impact fee is based on the most recent and localized data, which we've done through our studies. B, provide for the accounting and reporting of impact fee collections and expenditures, and account for the revenues and expenditures of such impact fee in a separate accounting fund. C, limit administrative charges for the collection of impact fees to actual costs. D, provide notice at least 90 days before the effective date of an ordinance or resolution imposing a new or increased impact fee. A local government is not required to wait 90 days to decrease, suspend, or eliminate an impact fee unless the result is to reduce the total mitigation costs or impact fees imposed on an applicant. New or increased impact fees may not apply to current or pending permit applications submitted before the effective date of a new or increased impact fee. Ensure that the collection, this is E, of the impact fee may not be required to occur earlier than the date of issuance of the building permit for the property it's subject to the fee. F is ensure that the impact fee is proportional and reasonably connected to or has a rational nexus with the need for additional capital facilities and the increased impact generated by new residential or commercial construction. That's predominantly what we're trying to do here today and during our next session. G, ensure that it has a rational nexus with the expenditures, funds collected, and the benefits accruing to the new residential or non-residential construction. H, specifically earmark funds collected under the impact fee for use in acquiring, constructing, or improving capital facilities to benefit new users. And I, ensure the revenues generated by the impact fee are not used in whole or part to pay existing debt or for previously approved projects unless the expenditure is reasonably connected to or has a rational nexus with the increased impact generated by the new residential or non-residential construction. And then under subsection 5, I'm just going to cite G, which indicates that 5, there are a lot of things that fall on us to do as well as to the county. But under G, a local government, school district, or special district may increase an impact fee rate beyond the phase-in limitations described in paragraph B. Those are not more than 25%. However, it also outlines that in order to do that, the need for such increase in full compliance with the requirements of subsection 4, provided that the following criteria are met. And 1 is a demonstrated need-based study. It goes on to explain the study. We've done that. And then 2 is the local government has held not less than 2 publicly noticed workshops dedicated to the extraordinary circumstances necessitating the need to exceed the phase-in limitations set forth in paragraph B, C, D, and E above. So that's what we're doing today, is we're holding those public workshops in order to ensure that we've done so, that we have justified the need for exceptional circumstances, and also that we have that option on the table to submit to the county at that time. But both 4 and 5 impose a number of duties on both the county and ourselves, and so therefore that would be a reason for any additional coordination or planning.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. So, board, to have a joint workshop just for timeline purposes, if we were to have this joint workshop in August, on August 11th, we potentially could vote on our recommendations during an August board meeting, and then hopefully have our recommendations to the county before their first September county commission meeting. If that were the case, and they did approve whatever amount, then the 90-day clock would begin, and that would put us 30, 60, probably not collecting if the county approves any impact fee, we would not be collecting until end of December at the earliest, based on the timeline that I'm looking at, just for transparency's sake. So again, joint public workshop on August 11th. Reverend Cummings shook his head yes. Do I have consensus to move forward with that? Okay. Very good. Dr. James, would you like to weigh in on that?
Yes, that works for me.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So August 11th, we will move forward with ensuring that is scheduled, and the team is shaking their head that that will happen. Perfect. Okay. Terrific. So with no public comment, I do open it up to the board if you have any additional thoughts or comments that you would like to make on the study and or the recommendation from Banesh. Ms. Conrad.
I really don't have anything further to say, just that we've discussed and kind of hammered it out already on our end, and we're just ready to move forward. I'm ready to move forward.
Thank you. Reverend Cummings?
Same thing. We keep kicking it. We talking about it. So, I mean, we need to just get it done. And I don't have any further comments.
Thank you. Dr. James, do you have anything else?
Sorry, it's really hard for me to hear what Lori's saying specifically. Can you repeat it?
Oh, she just wanted to know what you said.
Oh, I just signed ready to move forward.
She's just ready to move forward, as is Reverend Cummings.
Oh, same for me. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear what Lori said. So, yep, I'm on board. Let's move forward.
Okay, perfect.
And
Attorney
for
Powers.
anyone who may be interested in more information specifically regarding the things that we would otherwise discuss today, and that is the extraordinary or exceptional circumstances that are required under statute. Those are carefully outlined in the Banesh study, and although we didn't count it as one of our public workshops, that study, as well as Ms. Dobbins' long-range plan that she had submitted and reviewed with us via PowerPoint, those detail and are available on board docs as well, what the exceptional needs and circumstances are. Those are also attached to today's board docs, both documents, the PowerPoint presentation from that as well as the Banesh study. Those are both tied to that in board docs as well here for anyone who may wish to view those.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. And just because I'm looking at it right now, the suspended impact fee from the study date of 2006, the suspended rate was $3,517. And so that has been suspended, I believe, for 17 years. The recommendation from Banesh, I was trying to get it and I don't have that up. Sorry, I had the one thing and I don't have this new one. I think it's on the next page if I just go to the next page. So the recommendation from Banesh based on this 2023 study at 100% adoption would be $10,693 per dwelling. So that's a bit of an increase. Thus the conversation that we will be having. And that was the purpose of this workshop. We have another one scheduled, so the public is welcome to attend and share with us their thoughts on this recommendation and what we have presented and have seen. And that workshop will be July 13th at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of this and this alone. And then now newly scheduled on August 11th, we will have a joint public workshop with the County Commission at the Weber Center at 9 a.m. So with that, is there any additional comments that the board would like to make?
I would just, as the board attorney, I would also point out that when you say per dwelling, and obviously that's as to those who are subject to the impact fee, which would be new residential impact and
New construction.
new
right.
construction specifically.
Thank you for that clarification. I knew that, but I didn't say that, so thank you for that clarification. Anything further, board?
And, Madam Chair, could you
Yes, sir.
so everybody knows that this information is up. They can view this information. I think you said it, but just to reiterate, because we had this public workshop for the public, and the one next week is going to be again for the public so that we can be very transparent with what we're asking from the county commission.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Reverend Cummings. The purpose of these workshops is for the public, so public comment is certainly the purpose of what we're trying to do here. So if we do have members of the public that want to speak, I'll open that up again. Anybody want to speak who happens to be present today?
Okay, I did, and this was also properly noticed, and was advertised in accordance with the law. I did want to also ask of the board for our next meeting, are there specific questions or persons that you would like to be present to provide information? I know this morning, obviously, we have a number of people who may be relevant to those sorts of discussions if you had questions, but specifically, I can prepare for any questions that I might anticipate and make sure that the right staff are here for that as of the 13th. If there are anything that you specifically know or things that you want to discuss further.
I think the folk that always are here, they're always here. So if the team is here, I think we'll be fine.
All right, thank you.
And thank you for that, Attorney Powers, and thank you, Reverend Cummings. I believe, this is my opinion, that what comes of the impact fee discussion and where we land on that will then result in additional conversations we'll have to have. I'm not certain that the questions that I have can necessarily be answered until after we find out about the impact fee conversation with the county, because the financial advisor and those folks, Ms. Boston Ellis and all, talking about capital and the funding sources for capital, knowing impact fees is one of them. Without knowing where that conversation on August 11th is going to go, it's difficult for me to know what questions I need to ask. So that's where I am. Ms. Conrad?
I agree.
Okay. Dr. James, any further comments on who or what you might have questions about for the July 13th meeting?
No, I will look forward to seeing everybody then.
Okay. All right, perfect. Well, with that, we will move on to board comments and concerns. Ms. Martinez-Lopez, anything from Board Clerk's office?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Attorney Powers, anything else from legal?
I don't think anything that I can't contact individually about later if I need to, but it mostly be scheduling items. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Talbert-Irvin, anything else from you?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Perfect. Ms. Conrad?
No, just a thank you to our team here, ready in case we do have someone that wants to ask questions. So thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you. Reverend Cummings?
Comment.
Thank you. Dr. James, anything else from you? Dr. James, anything else from you?
Sorry.
It's okay.
No further comment.
Okay, all right, terrific. The last thing I'll mention is that we do have a regularly scheduled board meeting on July 11th. So that will be at 5:30 p.m. That information is available online, as well as our public workshop on July 13th for impact fee conversation, again at 5:30 p.m. here in the MTI auditorium. With that, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 9:22 a.m. Thank you.